Humber Wave Radio 106.9.
There we go. We're live here on Tiger Talk on Humber Wave Radio and to Hull and Back podcast. Good to have you tuned in tonight. Hopefully it's working on the radio. I think it is. It looks like it is. Little problem there, but you know, these things happen, don't they? Anyway, I'm Eddie Wright.
I'm Joe Collins.
Yeah, I'm Chris Sorensen.
And I'm Paul Wright.
And we did that without any practice tonight. So well done, everybody. And glad that it's glad that that's working. And how are we all?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Tired.
All right.
I'm tired. I watched possibly the most thrilling game of football ever last night. I'm just trying to get me ticket down. Lincoln versus Huddersfield, absolutely shocking. And we got some good quotes out of it though for a story, so that'll do. Wasn't worth not going to bed until about 11 o'clock for. But that's a game of football when a team got 3 points who I would have preferred to get 3 points out of, I suppose. Chris, Paul, how are you doing?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're talking about crazy games, I guess we're going to be going and deep delving into last Saturday's game, obviously, because that was a bit of a one of those type of matches, wasn't it? Once again, typical fashion of Hull City, but yeah, it's been a weird one. Now we've had time to sit down, relax, reflect. I guess it's going to be. I think today is going to be a good day for that kind of reflection because I needed some time because especially after our episode on Sunday.
It was dire, wasn't it?
It was a bad one. I think we were just shell-shocked. So I think, having a bit more time to reflect after the weekend, it's definitely been needed. I mean, Paul, Saturday, come on, for yourself.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, it must rate as one of the worst games this season, to be quite honest. As an actual football match, there wasn't a lot of excitement at all in the game. I can't understand why. I mean, people blame 12:30 kickoffs. You know, we've had a break, haven't we, and all this. You know, your football, he should be up for every game. And I don't know. I think, to be fair, I like Ruben, but I think he got his tactics wrong. When an away team comes here with two forwards and we're playing somebody who's, to be fair to Joseph, he hasn't quite done it at the moment, has he? Whether he's out of his league, whether he's just needs this bit of time, I don't know. But why not stick Bairstow up with him and Geldat behind the pair of them? You've got to show a little bit of wanting to win the game. And I think if we'd have both played till now, we would not have had a goal. Not only a good goal anyway, a fluky goal maybe, but you know, it was such a poor game. You know, I can't understand. I think Ruben got it wrong. He seems to want to stick wingers on. He seems to want to put Geldat on no matter what. And I like Geldat. I think he had one of his worst games for us on Saturday, but not blaming him. I think he was totally out of position where he should be playing. But I just can't understand why we are on the front foot against a team that, you know, if we score early, they're probably going to disintegrate because they obviously need the points as much as us. I think they was quite happy with the draw, to be quite honest. They just got a lucky goal. A second half, I don't think they created another chance, hardly. It was such a poor game. I mean, was it about 4 shots on target in the whole game or something? I think it's got to rate as one of the worst games this season, to be quite honest. I don't know what you three think, but that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'm not sure. I need to read things better and I need to spend more time on things, and I never do. So I'm sorry about that. But there was a stat going around that we haven't won a game after an international break. Was it for 45 games? Is that about reading that right? Or have I got something wrong there?
I think the stat's something like we haven't won the first game back from an international break in about 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's been lots of different managers in that time, as we know, as City fans. There's been lots of different players in that time as City fans. Why are we still not winning a game after an international break? There's all sorts of different things been given about this week to say, you know, we shouldn't have given them players the time off. We need to get them in for extra training, you know, all these sort of different things.
Can I just talk about that quickly, AD?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah. So I've got a view on this, and I saw the series of tweets that you're referring to there. And every single club in the country would have done that. every single Premier League and Championship club would have done that. And League One clubs who were affected by the break as well would have done the same. Because there is, you want to keep morale high. You want to keep players fresh. So you give them a bit of a rest, a bit of family time for themselves, a bit of time to go out and enjoy themselves. It's universally done across the football world during an international break. Luton would have done exactly the same thing, but we must have been the only fan base to make a problem out of it.
I think the problem comes in, Joe, because of the stat that we've just talked about, the not winning after an international break. And I think that, as fans, we see different things to what, players see, to what managers see, to what owners see. We see totally different things to what they see. But ultimately, what we do want to see is our team going out on a Saturday and performing to the best of their abilities. And whether Ruben got the tactics wrong, I do agree with you, Paul, by the way. I do think he got it wrong on Saturday. Or whatever it is, it's still no excuse for Luton winning every second ball, which it seemed to be on Saturday.
Yeah.
And we, that for me as a fan, I'm sure as a player, as a manager, and as an owner, also, it's unacceptable. And what the reason for that is, I don't know the answer. And if I did, I'd have Ruben's job and I'd be a lot richer than I am at the moment.
Just to sort of bring it back to where we were in terms of the players getting an international break holiday, all I've got left to say on that exclusively is that the players after the West Brom game getting Sunday through to Thursday morning off will not be one of the reasons that we go down this season. Absolutely not.
No,
and that's where I'm going to leave it.
I totally agree with you. There are a lot of factors to the situation that we're in.
That's not a reason that we will get relegated.
Problem that we've got at the moment, and you look, I'm sure even Christian will agree with me, is that we're at this stage of the season, we desperately need the points, and to not get them points, that was a 6-point game. We didn't get 6 points. We got 0 points, and we needed 6. We needed the 6 point. Well, look, we needed at least a point from that game. A point, I think everybody would have accepted, but as it is, we didn't get any points from that game. And that, for me, as a fan, is frustrating. And it keeps us round about the mix there now. These 3 points being between us, Luton and Derby. Looks like Plymouth Argyle are more or less guaranteed to go down. But Luton and Derby have got it all to play for. Derby's got a game in hand on us.
It's tonight, don't they?
Yeah, and it's all to play for them, because 3 points for them, with a couple of goals, and they would be level with us on points and level on goal difference, which then puts us back, near the bottom three. Cardiff are obviously going to drop into the bottom three. We're just going to stay out of it, but it's so tight there that I don't think we could afford a loss in a game with a rival that's near us. I think that's the big problem here. I don't know what your thoughts are.
No, you're right. Yeah, absolutely spot on. Luton was a game that we couldn't afford to drop any points. And we've said it last week on the show that for us, it was a humongous game. And I mean, call it a bit different from what you guys have just stated with respect to the lineup and how Ruben got things. When I saw the lineup come out for the starting 11, I was really optimistic for it. I thought, you know what? There's a lot of players playing in the right position there. Yeah, all right, I appreciate Gelhart's playing out on the wing, and he is better in the middle, but he can still do a job there. We've said this, he can do a job there. And I was really, really looking forward to that lineup. And I was praying for Carl Joseph, because on that wing, he's had a horrific time. It hasn't been easy for him coming to the club and not actually putting anything in the back of the net yet for us. And I thought, just with him up top and having someone like Casey Palmer next to him, that could have been the opportunity. And the most annoying thing about the game itself was, especially after the first half, where I was still quite optimistic, And I was thinking, you know what, we might sneak something here. There might be something that's going to come out the bag. And I actually thought Joseph might, because he had that opportunity where all he had to do was pull the trigger. And it was
he didn't.
And he didn't. And I just thought, what's going off here? And then in the second half, Puerta had the exact same situation where he had to just pull the trigger. And again, didn't. And it's just that second half, in contrast to the first, it was just, it was like a domino effect of falling apart all the way through the team. And a lot of you, I've got a feeling AD is going to disagree with me here. And we're going to have a good one here.
Stranger things have happened, Christian.
Stranger things happened. Stranger things happened. I want to blame the back line for a lot of it. I truly want to blame the defense. I'm not talking about the own goal. I am literally talking about the two centre-backs. Because for a lot of the game, yes, all right, they were doing a job in defending. I get that. But they were so sloppy in possession, giving away the ball. Hughes' long balls, his Hollywood passes, going out to Kamara, who's 2 foot tall, and I don't think I've ever seen him win a header properly, unless it's hit him on the back of the head by accident. It was not the play to do. And there was a point where I saw Jones and Hughes with their arms up going, where's the pass at? Where's the pass at? There's no movement. But I could see Alzate moving, Puerta moving, Palmer moving into these little channels in the midfield. And the only ball that Jones and Hughes were looking for was to bypass the midfield and go straight up top. It looks like a Walter system that they were trying to play almost.
I think, Christian, to be honest, if I'm looking at this, and it's not to disagree with you here, it's just to say that it looks like a coaching thing to me.
Yeah,
it looks like they've been asked to play that ball. And you're right with what you say. We can play that ball, and I think Hughes has got a good long ball on him. Some of them didn't work on Saturday. Yeah. No, there's no doubt about that. He has got a good ping on him. I think the problem is, as you said, the ball into Kamara. You cannot ask Kamara to win that ball, on the wing, because he's not going to win. You know, exactly. I said to Michal Paul right there on Saturday. I said it's this situation where he's so frustrating as a player, is Kamara. It can be so good, but it can be so bad at the same time. And it is so frustrating to watch. There's a lot of work that needs to go into Kamara. And, he's not the finished article. He's a young lad. I think he has got better. I don't think he had his best game on Saturday, if I'm honest. I think that, let's face it, a lot of players
No one had it, yeah.
So, that's, I'm not singling him out by any stretch of the imagination, but, he is a bit of a frustrating player to watch. I agree with what Paul said. We didn't see Bairstow all on Saturday. And why we didn't see Bairstow, I've no idea, because when he's come on in games, he's actually looked interested, and he is one that will take a shot. The thing that, as a striker, Carl Joseph doesn't need to be scared to take a shot. He needs to have the confidence to shoot. Whether it misses and it goes into Rose Head, it doesn't matter, because ultimately, the more shots you have, the more chance you've got of scoring a goal. If you disagree with anything we're saying tonight, then you can get in touch with us on WhatsApp 01482 772 663, or you can comment on whatever channel you are watching us on. And I think we've got some comments, Joe.
We do. In summary of the game, Lee Walker, good evening, Lee, says a typical City last Saturday, no urgency from the beginning. He then also adds that teams near the bottom have still got to play each other over the next few weeks. One of those games.
It's an interesting running, Lee. It's an interesting running, and one that as City fans will be watching.
Yeah.
Probably
I think again, we're hoping our friends from West Yorkshire do us a favour on Saturday, aren't we? They play Luton, I think.
It's such a shame to want the team from West Yorkshire to win, but unfortunately, at the moment we do.
They're the white ones.
They're the white ones, yes.
It could be, yeah. It could be the white ones.
Let's just be clear about that. One of those games, of course, is us versus Derby as well in the penultimate game of the season.
And we've got Portsmouth on the last game of the season. Let's hope we don't.
I'd rather not speak about that until we get to it.
Let's not go there yet, because my heart's already there breaking. Like, come on, I don't want to see.
By the time we get there, everything that we might end up saying now will be completely irrelevant. So that's,
Do you know what? I hope it is irrelevant. I hope it is irrelevant when we get there.
So do I. Anyway, moving on. Marsh raises a question about the summer with money. Do we avoid signing Puerta, Gellert, Zambrano where possible because any money needs to be used at left back and more importantly, one or two forwards? We'll dissect that in just a second. Moving further down, Nshep says he'd keep Joseph in the side but not up front. His work rate suits when playing away. Put him on the left and Gellert back centrally. We do, of course, have João Pedro coming back this weekend, which is
João's going to be a big player in these last few games for us. I would definitely have João back in the middle. I think Gellert works better just behind, and we've seen that when a free role. If they give him the free role where he can do what he wants, then I think back to, was it Marshy's comment about Puerta?
Puerta, Zambrano and Gellert.
Yeah, well, Puerta, for me, he's obviously there's this thing. I think is it another? He's got to play another game, and we've got to sign him. Is this the situation? I've seen the things. And
well, the by obligation games remaining are down to single figures. But we are still we're in single figures for the amount of games left now. So it could be one game more than we've got to play. So
we don't know. If he was going to drop somebody and to save a signing, then for me, I would put Gellert in the position for roaming, and then you can take Puerta out the side because Puerta tends to do quite a bit of that when he's on the pitch. So that's probably what I would do. And who would I sign out of Puerta and Gellert? I'd sign Gellert all day long.
Gellert, yeah, all day.
I have to agree on that one, especially. I mean, you all know how much.
It's going to be whether we stay in this division, though, isn't it? I mean, Gellert ain't going to drop into League One, is he?
No, he's definitely not.
And we're not going to be able to probably afford him anyway.
I was talking to a fan of the team that play in white from West Yorkshire on Saturday night, and he said, Gellert was great for their team in the Premier League. Even he said it's funny how he's not got a game in the Championship, but in the Premier League, it was really good for us. So he's been in the Premier League playing well, and now he's at Hull City. He'll want to see us make progress next season in the Championship. I think if we can stay in the Championship, then I do think we can make some progress next season. But the first thing is
they look as though could be in the Championship, don't they, the way things are going?
There is that, as you say, Paul, there is that possibility because, they are level on points at the moment with Burnley. So, it is tight up there as well, isn't it? The top three is very tight. You go down to fourth and there's 9 points between them and fourth. So the top three are all vying for the top two positions. And that's going to be some running.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd rather be in that position than the position
than where we are.
To be quite honest with you.
I think, to be honest, after Saturday's game, I mean, you wouldn't bet on either team winning another game this season, would you? Because they both look poor, to be honest. I mean, considering they played two attackers who have scored a few goals for them, haven't they, over the time? I think they played in the Premiership for them and things like that. They look devoid.
Last time Luton were in the Championship, Adebayo and Morris were unbelievable. But this year, it's just Adebayo's had chances like he had on Saturday where he smacked one off the post, and Morris has had chances where he should have tested Panda more than he did from that free kick when it came over. But they've just not taken them to the same degree. And Adebayo's been the sort of he's the biggest what if for Luton because he should have so many more goals than he does for them. And the stats reflect that.
I think our saving grace, and we might be putting too much on the shoulders of João Pedro here, is that Pedro's back this weekend, and Pedro has led the line so well for us. He's got such a great footballing brain. He plays a really good pass as well. I think, him in the side makes a huge difference to Hull City. And although, we did have 2 good games without him in the side, Saturday's game showed why we need him in the side. It really did. I think Carl Joseph, he needs something to go. I said this to Stan McEwen when I talked to Stan McEwen at the Tigers Trust Arena on Saturday for the official supporters club. I said to Stan, Does he just need something to go in off his backside or something like that? And Stan sort of played it down a little bit, but I think he knows really that, he does need just to go in off some part of his anatomy to maybe kickstart him scoring.
I don't honestly think he's a centre forward in the sort of João Pedro mould, is he?
Oh God, he's nowhere near João Pedro.
He's not,
no.
He's not. That's what I say. He's not. So you put him in a position what probably he can't fulfil. That's why I think we should have had two forwards, because they would have had more chances to fulfil that sort of holding up role. Both got a little bit of pace, and I think it would have worked a lot better. And I feel a little bit sorry for Joseph, to be honest, because he's come sort of mid-season. He's had a bit of a price tag on him, and he's trying to dislodge somebody who's probably been our Player of the Year in João Pedro. He's been. It's a hard act to follow, isn't it? And
you're looking at João or Evo for Player of the Season, aren't you?
Yeah, you definitely are. Can I just ask, Joe? I mean, you're really up on your football. You follow lots of football, a lot more than I do. I've got a wife; she'll divorce me if I follow too much. What was he playing? What was Joseph playing for Blackpool? Was he playing the lone striker role, or was he playing off with somebody else?
Let me think back to when I watched Blackpool.
He was actually playing with somebody else up top.
Was he?
Yes. No, he. A lot of the time when he came on, even if he did come on and say that main striker, their front line was so narrow, it felt like there was 3 or 4 strikers when that ball was kind of up that pitch and kind of being driven through. From what I watched,
so he's coming to us probably playing a different role to what he played
completely.
there, and that makes it different.
Completely.
He's been second striker to Ashley Fletcher, who's enormous.
Yeah.
In a 4-4-2 under Steve Bruce. And when I watched Blackpool just after Kyle Joseph left, Steve Bruce set the team up perfectly to win that specific game. He knew that they could just sit back, soak up, and hit on the counter. And with Joseph's work rate and pace, a game like that and a style like that, the way Steve Bruce set up would have suited him down to the ground. And he's come into a team here, and look where Blackpool are in the table now. Although they've languished around in mid-table for a lot of this League One season, they're now making a late push towards the playoffs. They're only 2-3 points outside the playoffs now, and they've got there from nowhere. So there was quality in that side, and they've kicked on without Kyle Joseph, which tells you that there was definite League One level quality in that team. And to stop the waffle and to bring it round again, there's a comment in here in chat from Coxey. Hearing Prutz on the 1904 club was absolutely gobsmacked at the amount we paid for Kyle Joseph with no decent goal scoring record. Blackpool this first half of the season was his best goal scoring return in football in his entire professional career.
Listen, some things go for you and some things don't. This is the situation in football. When you look at Hughes coming in, we paid money for Hughes. He looks like a really good investment and it looks like money well spent. And sometimes you gamble a little bit on these players, hoping that you're going to get what you want out of them. And sometimes it pays off and sometimes it doesn't. I think under this owner, more things haven't paid off than have.
More gambling, a lot more gambling.
Yeah, definitely going down to Mecca. Other bingo clubs are available and having to go there regularly.
Gambleaware.org.
Yes, definitely so. But yeah, this is the thing is that, he's definitely gambled on an awful lot of things and not many of those gambles have paid off up to now. We must, if we stay in the Championship or even if we go down to League One next season, we must at some point get a decent striker, mustn't we? I mean, obviously we've got Pedro, but no offense to Pedro, he's signed on until the end of the season. Whether he'd stay with us next season is a big question. You still need somebody as a number 2 to him or to play with him who's going to be good enough to score the goals that we need, because we've said it all season long. We can say it again. I can keep harping on about this rubbish if you want. But we haven't scored enough goals. We haven't conceded that many, but we haven't scored enough.
We're one of the best defensive records in the league, to be quite honest. You can't knock the defence. So, It's our forward play. And on Saturday, we didn't seem to have a lot of idea how to get the ball forward. It was just poor. I thought there was not a lot going on at all. And it's a shame because we're all right. We're neat and tidy on the ball. Alzati, Puerta, they're all neat and tidy on the ball, but they're not moved the ball forward enough. And I still think, we missed a bit of a trick when we brought Crooks on. Why didn't we stick him up front, a big lad, and play, Geld out off him a little bit, because we changed sort of like for like, and we needed a bit more up front. We didn't seem to go for it. It was, as we've all said, it's a big game. We didn't want to lose. So if we'd have thrown up somebody forward and lost 2-0, it would be no worse than it was, because we needed to get a point out of it, and throwing a few on up front, I think we might have scraped a point, but played it out from the back, across, and it just didn't seem to go forward quick enough for me.
As Mike said, Michael will go with every week. He said, he didn't put enough forward, did he, at the end there? Normally you've got 4 up or something like that, and he didn't gamble enough. And as Mike said, we could lose it 2-0 because our goal difference is good. So the goal difference is good. You just might as well go for it and try and get salvage something from the game, which we didn't do. Don't forget, you can get in touch with us tonight. WhatsApp us on 01482 772 663 or comment on the particular channel that you're watching us on. Have we got any more comments, Joe?
A comment that's just coming from Coxey is, why is it every time we get a sellout crowd at the MKM, the players panic?
It's a very good point, Coxey. Yeah. One made really well. And I have said this on previous podcasts. One thing that you've got to say for the owner is he did the cheap tickets again. It's nearly sold the ground out. He's got to be so mad, hasn't he, that the team hasn't turned up again when the crowd's turned up, because you can guarantee them extra 2,000 fans that came through the gate for that game was not entertained and probably ain't going to come back to the next one.
Yeah. The thing is, as a professional footballer, shouldn't he be, buzzing to be playing in front of 23,000 people? Yeah. It's got to be. And he shouldn't have to have any lift at all. He should just be buzzing. All the people there to support you.
You would surely think so, Paul. As you know, if I get to go out and do a gig on the road for the radio station, if I've got 50 people watching me, I'm buzzing by it. You know what I mean? So these people are getting 23,000 watching them. You've got to be buzzing, haven't you? It's got to get you totally riled up for it, but it just doesn't seem to happen for us, does it? Our next game, by the way, is a Monday night against Coventry City at the MKN Stadium, an 8 o'clock kickoff. It's terrible, isn't it, the Championship and Sky?
Yeah. For that one. I'm not going to... What's even worse is, I'm not doing a plug here, by the way, everybody, but 14th of April is my birthday. And that is my birthday treat of going down, obviously. I still go to the stadium.
Yep.
I want a win as my present. That is it. I just want a win. I don't care about anything else. I want a win. And it's it. It's on Sky again. And why? Just... It's always the bad luck of why are we cursed with Sky and the playing at home? I
think we just need to make a note there. Christian doesn't care about a card.
Yeah, don't care about a card. I just want 3 points. That's all I want. That's all I'm asking.
If we could deliver them, we would, Chris. We would definitely, if we could deliver them.
We're kind of repeating ourselves from the stage of the beginning of the season and last season, every other season that I've been a Hull fan. Of why do we get ourselves in these predicaments when it's the team right near the bottom, Luton? They've been on an awful form. We've just had a nice, lovely break. The players have had a nice, lovely rest. The stadium's packed. Like, everything's there for, come on, we should be getting it. And again, we were let down. And it's just getting to that stage where is it funny now? Is it so sad that it's funny that things like this keep happening to Hull and being a Hull fan? It is just painful that things like this keep happening. Now, with Sheff Wednesday on the horizon, I mean, our semi-saving graces, they've got as bad as a home form as we have.
Nearly.
The other saving grace may be that they've not been paid.
And that also,
we all. I tell you what, we all like to get paid for our jobs, unless you're retired, Paul. We all like to get paid for our jobs that we're doing.
the pension, technically, it's a payment of sorts, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm not complaining.
He did a job for a lot of years to end up getting this pension. So, he did work hard for a lot of years. So let's not do him any disservice here. But we all like to get paid for the jobs that we're doing. And if Chef Wednesday players haven't been paid, they might not be as happy as can be. The good thing is, I've looked today. We're taking about 3,000 fans with us to Chef Wednesday. It's a 3:00 kickoff on a Saturday, which is nice, So there's a couple of things that could go for us, but let's not count our chickens before the hatch because, again,
we're away from home.
We're away from home. This is Hull City that we're talking about, though. Nothing is ever straightforward with Hull City, is it? That's the thing. We have had some good results down at Hillsborough.
Not last year.
Let's hope for another one on Saturday. And, again, another 3 points would really, really help us to secure championship status for next season. Another 3 would put us on 44. I think we said early on, is it going to get to 50 points before you get relegated? But I think it actually could do at the moment. The way things are, the tightness that it is, it could certainly get to 50 points, which means we need another 9. What, we've got 7 games left?
Yeah.
7 games left, yep. And we're on 41 points.
It's more than a point a game that we need.
Got away with it a bit on Saturday. 1 or 2 was winning at half time. They ended up drawing, didn't they? Or even getting beat, I think. So we did get away with it a little bit on Saturday.
Well, Cardiff are on a good run of form at the moment. Oxford are.
Cardiff are weird though. They could be on a poor run of form and then just pull a result out of nowhere against a team you wouldn't expect them to get a result against. They do it every year, and they're such a weird team for it.
They are. Yeah. I mean, Luton are on quite a good run at the moment. And Derby County again on a good run at the moment. Plymouth look as though they're down and out at the moment. They've got to do an awful lot to stay in the division. Oxford, Stoke, possibly Portsmouth up to Queen's Park Rangers could still be in the mix. But Oxford and Stoke are the 2 that are closest to us on 42 points. Really, really tight at the bottom of the league. Really tight at the top of the league. It's typical championship season, isn't it?
It is. Can I just backpedal a little bit and talk about the Sheffield Wednesday players not getting paid? Because I think I'm in a privileged position where at university I'm friends with a Sheffield Wednesday fan. So I can shed a bit of light on this from someone who knows a bit more about the club that we're talking about than we do. So no one actually knows how much Dafon Chansiri is worth, because the company that they all got their wealth from, of the 5 Chansiri brothers, is co-owned by the 5 of them. And then they each own all their own different businesses separately, one of which for Dafon Chansiri is Sheffield Wednesday. And apparently the situation for Sheffield Wednesday and the players getting paid in this case is Chansiri hasn't had a windfall for one of his other companies, which helps him to fund the day-to-day running of Sheffield Wednesday, meaning that because that immediate budget wasn't there, they couldn't get paid immediately as scheduled, which I suppose for the footballers is less of a problem, but I imagine that trickled down to the behind-the-scenes staff as well, who in a lot of cases, in pretty much every case, let's be honest, will be a bit more sort of uptight for money and having they will have to worry about money more than the players will.
You say that, Joe, don't you, about the footballers? But let me say this right: if you're earning £100 a week, you live to your £100 a week.
Yeah, you live to your means.
If you're earning £20,000 a week, you live to your £20,000 a week. Then footballers ain't going to be in a £150,000 house down Wald Road, are they?
No, they're not, because they live in Sheffield.
They're going to be, well, yeah, but even I'm trying to put it in a whole perspective.
I know.
They're going to be in your £1 million house in Kirkella.
Yeah, fair point.
And so their mortgage is going to be high, and if they'll all have mortgages because they're all taught. They're all doing things properly in finance. They'll have accountants that are saying, there's no point in you paying this house off. You might as well have a mortgage on it. And instead of having one house, have 6 houses because you can afford it. And then, they'll have this problem, won't they, that their pay isn't getting paid. So I'm just trying to say that we say that the footballers won't have a problem, but they still live to what they're earning.
Yeah, of course. And I suppose the point I was trying to make was that the behind-the-scenes staff might also be affected. So just bringing sort of that up because they're the people who sort of keep the football.
Are you trying to say, Joe, that when you go to Chef Wednesday on Saturday, take a flask with you and a pack up because there's going to be no tuck shop running?
Hey, well, you never know.
The thing is, I think it's more of a worry if they aren't going to get paid again, isn't it? It'd be on the man's, won't it? You haven't got paid this time. I presume it'd be monthly, I don't know. But they haven't got paid this month, say. Are they going to get paid next month? That's got to be at the back of the man's, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Because, if you haven't got the money now, where's he going to get it from? So it's going to be on the back of the man's, I would think. I ain't saying it'll affect the performances because, the professional footballers, 11 going out against 11, they're not going to think, well, he didn't bloody pay me. I'm not going to score this goal. Like, I'm just going to let the ball go past me and go in the net. It's not going to happen like that, is it? But, I think as a profession, anybody, if you don't get paid 1 week or 1 month, you're thinking, I hope I get paid next month. So it could be on the man's a little bit. I don't think it'll affect the performance particularly. I don't think footballers, when they get on the pitch, are thinking about them sort of things. But it's not going to be a help to them, let's put it that way, is it, that they haven't been paid?
But do take your flask and do take your bag of crisps and your sandwiches in your bag, just in case, is the advice from To Hull and Back podcast and Tiger Talk here on Humber Wave Radio. It's 20 to 8. We've got about 18 minutes left on the podcast. Go on, one last thing, Joe.
One last thing on Sheffield Wednesday. This one is a bit more sort of actually on the pitch based. They had a change of goalkeeper at the weekend. They dropped Brighton loanee James Beadle, who was fantastic for them last season, but hasn't hit the same heights this term. And they put in Piers Charles, who you might remember was their goalkeeper when we played them in the Carabao Cup earlier this season and looked shaky, let's say. But he had a phenomenal performance on Saturday. Made some great saves, commanded his box well, looked calm. And a lot of Sheffield Wednesday fans have been calling for him to have been starting games a lot sooner. So they suspect they had a clause in there that Beadle had to play a certain amount of games when he was fit in this season's loan agreement. But Piers Charles going in goal, I mean, if we stick Finn Burns up on a set piece, he could potentially cause him a bit of trouble again.
I think you've got to have Finn Burns on the pitch for him to be able to do that. Yeah. Sheffield Wednesday, if they have done it for the reason that you've just said, Joe, and he had to play a certain amount of games, they are on 52 points. I would say they're probably safe now. So they'll probably be thinking, we're safe now and we can afford to do that sort of thing. It's
they were never in any danger of going down. It's just a case of they probably won't get in the playoffs now.
No, I mean, it's a big ask for them anyway. They're on 52 points at the moment. To get to the playoffs, they've got to get to West Brom on 57, another 5 points. It's not a lot, but it is a lot when you look at these, another 5 teams above them as well that'll want to get in there. And yeah, I mean, it's a big ask at this point in the season with only 7 games remaining. You've got to you've got to hope that a few teams above you lose and you win quite a lot, which, as you say, they've probably given up on it now. Let's hope they have. Let's hope they have, because we need them to give up on it on Saturday and just say, come down, Hull City, you can have the 3 points. We know you need them.
The question is, who
would benefit them financially, wouldn't it, if we stayed in the division?
Yes, definitely. Yes,
yeah. It's taking 3,000 fans to their place.
Well, that might help them pay the wage bill this week. You never know.
Yeah,
Chris, you was just about to say something. Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, I was going to say the question is for us then. I mean, obviously, we can look at Sheffield Wednesday all we like, but ultimately, we've always got to look at ourselves. And with the game that we've all just witnessed, we all agree it didn't work, even though I was, like I say earlier on, I was very optimistic. So the question is, what do we do up top? I mean, yeah, all right, Pedro's back. Yeah, bang.
Easy.
But,
You bring Zhao in.
yeah, but it's
Simple.
not just Zhao, is it? It's not just Zhao, is it? I mean, after the 11, yeah, it can be classed as a bit of a blip, but we've had too many blips this season to be classed as a blip. The left-hand side especially, and I'm not talking left back because at the moment, though, we are still screaming out for an actual left back. The lad's been doing all right there, so I'm not complaining that. I'm more talking about the left wing and the right wing situation because Kamara, again, I'm not slating the guy because though, again, he didn't play his best, it by far wasn't his worst he's ever played.
No, it wasn't. No, I agree with you.
So, and this is coming from me. So,
I mean, you were agreeing. This is what wrong.
Agree.
What's totally wrong with this podcast tonight? Cut the podcast off.
That's it. We're done. But it's the left side for me. And someone put it in chat earlier about saying, well, what about putting Joseph back on the left? Please, no, he can't cross it in.
Here's the thing, right? Come on, Ruben, if you're listening to the podcast or the radio tonight, why have you not given the young lad a chance? Harry Vaughan is playing really well in the 21s. He's a proper winger. Every time he comes on, he looks interested. He tries to do something. Yeah, he might be small. He might get a little bit pushed off the ball every now and again. But I tell you what, he's something a little bit different to what we've got at the moment. Give him a chance. You know, we've got 7 games left of the season. Give him a chance. The good thing this week is it was really nice to see on Hull City's feed that Mohamed Baloumi is back. And also we saw a little bit. Yeah, we saw a little bit of touching the ball as well, which was, come on, help me out with the names.
Liam Miller.
I'm getting old. Liam Miller. Liam Miller was touching the ball this week, and that was good to see as well. So, you know, they will help.
No.
Neil, don't be a cynic. Carry on. It was really nice to see them back in training, and, you know, hopefully one or maybe both of them can get back for the beginning of the new season.
Yeah, no, and I have to look. We are all looking forward to seeing them two back because they did get butts off seats, and everybody was very excited every time one of them got the ball because you felt something was going to happen, especially how Miller used to drive the ball into the box, and that is underneath the manager that shall not be named by me ever again, and they were still doing things like that. Baloumi, electric. I love that. I love his goals that he did. His little dink as well. I'm really excited to see them back. But the problem obviously is now, and I agree with you, AD, 100%. Get Harry started, and the substitute because look, Harry can't play the full game. He will get bashed about. He will.
Yeah, and he's probably with the best will in the world, Chris. He's probably at the moment, because he's not featured that much for us in the Championship, a 60-minute player.
Yeah, exactly. And someone who I do like to go on that side, who comes on, Lincoln.
Yeah. I'm not averse to that.
How he plays. I really like how Lincoln plays.
And he was very direct on Saturday. Very direct.
He was very direct. And that's the thing. Because there's so different type of style of players. Having someone like Harry Vaughan who's going to, literally bite the heels off the opposition and try and hunt that ball down and run at them and things like that. That substitution of bringing on someone like Lincoln afterwards is a completely different dynamic that will literally put the opposition defender, he wouldn't know what to do. He wouldn't know how to cope with it because it's something so different after 60 minutes that he's had to deal with. It's a good mix-up and it's a very good tactical change. And for someone like Lincoln, who's, to be honest, every time I've seen him come on, I no problem. I can't think of anything that I can turn around and go, Lincoln's not there. He's not that. All right, fitness, I appreciate. You know,
he's definitely got something, and he's got something a little bit different to what we've got in the team already. It's obviously there's hard decisions to be made between now and the end of the season. I'm hoping that Ruben gets more decisions right than he gets wrong because, ultimately, I think I agree with you, Paul. On Saturday, he did get it wrong. He's got to start with Pedro. ante on Saturday. Rumour has it that Cynic was like Ronaldinho in that practice match, right? Okay.
Another rumour that he scored 6 in that friendly. Another rumour he fell over as he was getting subbed on and got stretchered off.
Coxie, I think you're the most close with those rumours, to be quite honest with you.
Right. We've had our Cynic mention. It took us about 40 minutes when Neil commented it in. Let's move on.
Do we think Pedro will last the full 90, though, after having a couple of weeks out?
Yeah, because you know, when he first came in, did I think he'd last 90 minutes in any game this season? No.
Did you think he'd last 90 seconds in any game when he first came in? Did
he last 120 minutes?
Exactly.
Yes, he did. And that just goes to show the professional that he is. Yeah. He will be fit, chomping at the bit and ready to go. I can tell you now.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
Let's hope so.
He's a great player. We all know that. He does his dropping. He's got great work rate. He tries and wins the ball, but he always tries to win a foul. He never gets them, but he always tries to win them.
I think he's unlucky sometimes as well, Chris. I think it's just...
he is unlucky a lot.
Because he's such a
big presence.
A presence. And I like that wording. Such a big presence. The referees sometimes don't believe that he's been fouled. Yeah. But there are times that he does get fouled and he doesn't get the free kick because, as you say, he is such a big presence on the football field. We've got a couple of things that I want to mention tonight before we go off. Me and Joe have already bought our tickets. Join us, players and the staff, from the 0405 season for a night of reminiscing our back-to-back promotions. This is from Hull City Official Supporters Club, and it's on the Kingston Suite. It's the 10th of May, which is a Saturday night. It's £20 for a ticket. You do get 20% off, I believe it is, if you're an OSC fan. And for that, you get some food, and you'll see quite a few ex-players that are going to be there. Also, you'll see Peter Taylor, the ex-manager, and Adam Pearson, the ex-chairman. They'll all be in attendance to that night. It's a night not to be missed, and you can get your tickets at hullcityosc.org. Be great to go, and I'm looking forward to that one. Joe, you?
I most certainly am. I was straight on Ticket Source, sorting my ticket out for that one at 9 o'clock when they came out. I wasn't forgetting about that one. And just for another bit of info, I think it starts at 7:30, doors open at 6:30. So get there, get sat down, get chatting to people. I was going to say have a pint, but I won't be because I'll be driving. So someone can have one for me. And
well, you pick me up, Joe, and I'll have one for you. There you go. Good word.
And you can pay for it, Joe, as well.
Yeah, you can pay for it, Joe. Yeah.
So you're very lucky.
The other thing that I'd like to mention, and I probably shouldn't mention this because tickets are going to go like crazy. There's also a night with an evening of the Hall of Fame. During the 120th anniversary, they've seen Rage Carter and Stuart Elliott inducted to join Ian Ashby, Billy Bly, Nick Barmby, Chris Chilton, Andy Dawson, Gareth Roberts, Pete Skipper, Ken Wagstaff and Dean Windus in the Hull City Greats. And they'll have a night with Dean Windus, Nick Barmby, Andy Dawson, Ken Wagstaff, and it's going to be hosted by Alex Burgess. This is on Thursday, the 24th of April. And tickets go on sale. They don't actually go on sale because I think they're free. They go on sale this Friday at 10 o'clock. I'll have to get my computer screen ready, refresh, press that button, and then all the tickets have gone and I don't get one as usual.
Yes, that's how it goes.
But yeah, that'll be a good night as well, I would think. And good that the club are doing these. It's just a shame that they're so limited in availability because so many of the fans want to go watch them. And also the way they should maybe be balloted or something like that. I don't know.
Dino said to me that Ian Ashby won't be going because he's doing fishing or something. I don't know.
There you go. So Ian Ashby not there, but Dino will be. It'll be a good night there. Dino always tells some good stories. Ken Wagstaff's always good value for money as well. Nick Barmby and Andy Dawson, I'm sure, will add to the night as well.
They're all good value for money if it's free.
They are very good value for money if it's free. Yes, so if you can get a ticket for that, then get your ticket, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I will be trying to get a ticket. I'm hoping to get there. What we've got left, 5 minutes left. Have we got any more comments come up on our socials, Joe?
A question about Charlie Hughes getting a yellow card. I've only just seen it.
9. It'll be on now then. 9 yellow cards.
But the window for 10 has gone, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it has.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think
we're all right with Charlie Hughes, which is good. But when it was
9 in 20 games, bloody hell.
When he was injured and out for those games, we did cope without him quite well.
We did, but he's a good player.
Yeah. He is a good player, and you can see the difference when he comes back. I do like him. I think whatever league we're in next season, there'll be a few bids coming for him in the close season, and we might find it hard to turn them bids down. I'm not sure. That's my thoughts.
There was a comment somewhere else further up, which I've just found here from Marsh. We're worried about selling Stephen Alzate to raise funds, came on a free, so it's all profit. Worried about having some unwanted players on big money returning in the summer. Amir Giles and Marvin Malem. Malem, that deal is with a view to a permanent, and he's done quite well at Paderborn, I think. Scored 3 goals there, as far as I'm aware. Giles, not so much at Middlesbrough. I think it's highly unlikely that he will be a permanent Middlesbrough player at the end of the season. And then Abdushamir has been injured. So we're going to have to find a way to shift 2 of those 3, because one, I think, will be a shoo-in to go elsewhere. I think Alzate will be sold if we drop down to League One, but I think if we stay in the Championship, Stephen Alzate will stay. Marsh.
Yeah, I think you might be right. It's a difficult one to. I think there's a lot of if, buts, and maybes. I think if we stay in the Championship, then some of these if, buts, and maybes may turn out a little bit less problematic. But it is this big earners coming back and things like that, and not being able to get them off our books.
If you're in the Championship, if you're going out, not many Championship players are going to go to another Championship club. I don't think from Hull City they'll be quite happy here. And if we're in the League One, obviously, then you're going to lose them. And not many Premiership teams are going to come in for our players, as we've been near the bottom most of the season. So I think losing them will be down to whether Hull City want to keep them to a certain degree. Obviously, that'll depend on what the manager wants, I suppose. So I'm not too worried about us losing players if we stay in the Championship. If we're going to the League One, you never know, do you?
I think he's built the dressing room a bit to be. They seem to be quite together now, Chris, don't they, the dressing room? They've got a lot more togetherness there, and I think that helps as a footballer. If you're feeling the love in the dressing room, you probably want to stay in a place that you're feeling the love rather than go to somewhere that might not be the same. Because, ultimately, when you're going into work, it's always better if you're going in and you're enjoying where you're working, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's I guess you've worded it perfectly right there, Eddie. Going into work and all going with a smile on your face. Ruben's kind of built a nice dressing room, a good atmosphere. Again, you can see the players getting along and things like that. Obviously, they're not as happy with the results, and that's turning around. But you don't really hear anything bad banterous coming out of the club, and I think that's the fans' fear more than anything is where we're going to finish at the end of the season, because that staying in the Championship, put the kind of the league bit aside, financially and the players that we have is the big bit.
Yeah.
And for fans, this is the huge worry. We don't really want to get rid of anybody. Well, there's 1 or 2, but
he will be going, Coxie. Don't you worry about that. Cynic is coming to the end of his contract.
End of a contract. They exactly things like that. However, you don't really want to get rid of your best players just because we've had to drop down a league. And can you guys seriously, while here right now, I can't deal with another rebuild. I can't.
It is frustrating, and I'm afraid the rebuild is one that we're going to have to lead till next week and talking about next week, where we might have an idea of where we are going to be next season, because there's 2 games between this podcast and the podcast next week. We've got Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday, and then we've got Watford, which we'll talk about on the podcast next Wednesday at 7:00 here on Humber Wave Radio on Hold and Back podcast, because that's on Tuesday night. It's a 7:45 kickoff away at Vicarage Road. Let's sort of throw in on Saturday, 3:00 kickoff at Hillsborough. We'll come back and talk about it all next week. I'm just going to say I've been Eddie Wright.
I've been Joe Collins.
I've been Chris Sorensen.
I've been Paul Wright.
And you've been listening to Hull and Back podcast, Tiger Talk on Humber Wave Radio and on Hull and Back podcast.
Bye guys.
Is humble.
Right.